Hamas attacks Israel. Beijing performs double standards and dark humor. On October 7th of this year, a shocking terrorist attack occurred in the Middle East that has shaken the world. The Hamas organization, which controls the Gaza Strip, suddenly launched a large-scale attack on Israel, directly targeting civilians. Over 1,300 people were killed, and nearly 200 were taken hostage. Hamas openly paraded the hostages, subjecting them to extreme humiliation. These acts of violence and brutality are truly horrifying. This can be unequivocally categorized as terrorism and a terrorist attack. Israel has referred to it as its 9/11 or Pearl Harbor moment, and this description is not unwarranted. Following the terrorist attack, most countries strongly condemned Hamas and expressed great sympathy for Israel. Surprisingly, the Chinese Communist Party authorities, despite being a major world power and a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, remained silent about Hamas' atrocities. The party-controlled media in China hardly reported on the terrorist attack by Hamas, let alone in detail. Instead, through statements from its foreign ministry spokesperson and commentaries in party-controlled media, there were implications that the blame lay with Israel and even suggestions that it was a failure of U.S. Middle East policy. According to the CCP's perspective, one might wonder if they were implying that this was a victory for China's Middle East policy. Under the tight control of the CCP's propaganda operators, online public opinion in China seems to support Hamas and express negative sentiments toward Israel, resembling what is perceived as the mainstream public opinion in China. As a result, a strange double stand has emerged, with a stark contrast between China's external and internal perspectives. Externally, there appears to be a favorable view of Muslims, regardless of how radical or even if they engage in acts of terrorism. Internally, there is a negative view of Muslims, even when they are moderate and rational, such as the Uyghurs in Xinjiang. The Uyghurs, known for their vibrant culture and traditions, have faced large-scale persecution in the form of internment camps. The Chinese Communist Party's support for Muslims abroad and hostility towards Muslims at home creates a perplexing logical inconsistency. It's worth nothing that this inconsistency is not unique to China's political sphere, but also exists in everyday life. Many Chinese people choose to study in Israel, while few opt for Arab countries. Similarly, some Chinese immigrants move to Israel, while very few choose Arab nations. In daily life, there is a preference for Israel over Arab countries. Yet in politics, the opposite seems to be true. This apparent contradiction may be attributed to different personal and professional considerations, but it is indeed a complex and multiple-faceted issue. At this critical moment, Beijing's avoidance of addressing the Hamas terrorist attack and its focus on the two-state solution is indeed notable. It's important to note that the concept of two-state solution has been advocated by other countries and has been the subject of United Nations resolutions, suggesting that both Israel and Palestine should have their own independent states. This approach is not inherently flawed and has been proposed as a way to resolve the Middle East conflict. However, the issue lies in China's endorsement to the two-state solution, also known as the two-state theory, while seemingly applying a double standard. One aspect of its double standard is that China refrains from condemning Hamas terrorist attacks and, in a subtle way, appears to support Hamas while indirectly blaming Israel. China has explicitly stated that it shares a similar position with Arab countries, indicating a clear alignment. It seems that China may not genuinely support the idea of two states, but instead leans toward supporting one side. Furthermore, China has refrained from criticizing the extreme views expressed by Hamas and Iran, which have threatened to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. This lack of criticism suggests a certain level of support for these extreme positions. This inconsistency in China's approach to the Middle East conflict, particularly its stance on Hamas and Iran, does raise questions about its true intentions and positions in the region. The second aspect of this double standard is particularly evident in China's approach to Taiwan. When the mainstream public opinion in Taiwan leans towards independence and does not recognize the authority of the mainland, Chinese government, the Chinese Communist Party, vehemently opposes any notion of a two-state solution and even threatens the use of force. This stance includes frequent military drills and sub-writing suggesting a readiness for military action against Taiwan at any moment. Essentially, the CCP supports the idea of Israel and Palestine each having their own state, but opposes the idea of mainland China and Taiwan each having their own independent states. This contradictory position has raised doubts and skepticism in the international community. China's support and opposition are so extreme that even Chinese citizens and students who find themselves in Israel or Gaza, referred to by the CCP as Chinese compatriots, receive little to no assistance or attention from the Chinese government, while other governments work tirelessly to evacuate their citizens during times of conflict. The Chinese government has been criticized for not providing adequate support and even telling its citizens to take care of yourselves. The Chinese Communist Party's support and opposition are so extreme that CCP's media outlets ended up echoing Hamas fabrications by reporting false news about the Israeli military using phosphorus bombs in Gaza. The result was a colossal blunder. The video of the alleged white phosphorus attack turned out to be footage from a few years ago of the Russian military using white phosphorus on Syria civilians. This incident is reminiscent of a previous embarrassment involving former CCP Foreign Minister spokesperson Zhao Lijian, who presented a photo accusing the U.S. military of indiscriminate bombing in Afghanistan, turning it into a wasteland and where children sit crying amidst the ruins. Foreign journalists quickly exposed that the image was from a few years ago, depicting the Russian military's indiscriminating bombing in Syria, where Syria had indeed turned into a wasteland and children were sitting amidst the ruins. Zhao Lijian wanted to accuse the U.S. military, but unintentionally exposed the atrocities and brutality of the Russian military, then quickly deleted the posts. This time, the CCP's media outlets repeated the same mistake, attempting to accuse the Israeli military, but unintentionally exposing the actions of the Russian military once again, and they too swiftly deleted the posts. Such astonishing blunders raise the question, could Zhao Lijian and the CCP's media outlets be intentionally engaging in advanced trolling against Russia? If so, it's a humorously ironic turn of events. This could go down in history. As a classic case of dark humor.